Okay, we have our login and sign up screen, and we implemented our auth navigator with our switch navigator, so we're able to transition between screens the way we want to within our app. But right now it's just a plain login screen, and there's no way to get anywhere else unless we hard code a different route to the home page. So we want to be able to switch that, and we want to add more functionality to this login page. So that the user can put in their email and their password and then click a button to log in. We're going to add the Firebase authentication later, but we're going to add like the necessary stuff first from our end so that the Firebase side is a lot simpler. So first of all things, we're going to go to the login component, and then we're going to import a new React Native component called text input, which is basically just like input in HTML. And this text input takes in a couple of fields of value. We could just type in hello on change text. So this is basically what do you want to happen when a user types in this field on a keystroke. So we could just do right now console.log input, or actually we want to put input here, and then we can put a placeholder. Is exactly that, just a placeholder, and it just says email. So this is going to be our email field. Then we're going to close up this. And there we go. The value right now is hello, so we probably want to initialize that to nothing. And once we start typing in, once we do the on change text action, that's where we're going to update this value. So right now, hello. Nothing happens in the screen, but you can see in our terminal, it's actually hello. Oh, nope, don't want that. Hello. So you can see it changing in the terminal. But we're not updating the value, so it doesn't look like anything's happening in the app itself. So we're just going to add one more field right now. I'm going to do password. And so now we have an email and a password field, but none of them do anything except for console log in the terminal. So instead of console logging, we want to put a function, aka an action. So we want to create a new actions file, and you could put everything in index.js, but we're going to add a lot more actions moving forward. So we're going to create a new file just for users. So any actions based on the user, we're going to use the user action. And we could basically just kind of use some of the same syntax here. So like I said before, it's just a plain function, but instead we're going to pass in a payload, and the payload is basically just params, if you think of it like that. And then we're going to do update email, and we're going to pass in that email and then pass that onto the payload. So that may be a little confusing right now, but you can see if we call this function in the login, we could pass in this input as the email, and that would pass in through that payload just like we want it to. So ideally we would do this .props update email, and then you would pass in the input, and it would come in as the email from the action side. So this isn't going to work because from the frustrations we had earlier, we have to connect the props, map dispatch to props, and then map state to props. So we're going to have to add in everything we did for this home page. So we're basically just going to copy and paste this for login and change a few things. Home, login. We're exporting at the bottom now, so we're going to move that to the bottom. That's already there. And then we want to change this to user. And before we were just importing state. So before, this was the whole state. So as you can see, the reducer, the state is just 115. It's only ever going to be a number. But we want to add more fields to this. And right now we're going to import another reducer. So we could have multiple reducers, and this is just going to be for the user. And instead of a number, we're going to just initialize it as just an empty object. So if this object is empty, you're going to know that the user is not logged in because there's no information for them. So that's how you kind of start to determine whether you're going to push them to the home page or keep them on the login page to have them log in. And then we're just going to remove this one for now. And we're going to create a new reducer function called update email. And